hands as they followed him, and the younger ones slinking away full of shame and embarrassment for the lad who had no strength to rise to his feet. The girl witnessed none of this. She was gently deposited inside the chamber she shared with her foster sisters, and had the luxury of shedding her tears of humiliation in private. Her young champion shed his tears in the mud. Chapter 1. England, 1225. The young woman sat atop her mount and looked down the road that separated her from the castle. She had traversed its length many times over the course of her 10 and 9 years, and felt reasonably acquainted with its dips and swellings. She was, however, eager to be free of its confines, and as a result off her horse, so she viewed it with a keen eye. Judging the distance separating her from her goal to be not unmanageable, she took a firmer grip on her reins and urged her horse forward. Her destination could not be reached quickly enough to her mind. Behind her rode her matchmaking father, his head likely full of thoughts of the half-dozen men he had left behind him at Fenwick, men desperate enough for his wealth to take his daughter in the bargain. Before her lay her foster home, the home of her heart, the home she had left almost half a year earlier only because her father had dragged her bodily from it. She had despaired of ever seeing it again. But now she was released from her father's hall, if only briefly, and Artane was but a short distance away. That was enough. It would have to be. It might be all she was allowed to have. "By the saints, I'm eager to be out of this bloody rain," her sire complained, as he pulled up alongside her. "How is it, Mistress Anne, that I allowed you to enlist me in this fool's errand in this blighted weather? My business with you is at Fenwick, not here." Anne looked at her sire. A weak shaft of autumn sunlight fell down upon his fair hair and glinted on the gold embroidery adorning his heavy surcoat. "You look well, father," she said, praying she might distract him, and knowing a compliment could not go astray. "As if it served me to look well, given the circumstances." "It was kind of you to bring me to Artane," she said, keeping to her course. "I very much wish to bid Sir Montgomery a final farewell." "It will be too late for that, I should think," her sire muttered. "He'll be dead by the time we arrive." But Anne could only assume by the way he began to straighten his clothing and comb his hair with his fingers that he was seeking to present the best appearance possible, even if such an appearance was only to be made at a burying. She turned her mind back to more important matters, namely staying in the saddle until she could reach the castle. Her leg had not borne the rigours of travelling well. Though but 4 days' slow travel separated Fenwick from Artane, she suspected she might have been better served to have walked the distance. She wondered if she would manage to stand once she was released from the tortures of her journey. Despite that very real concern, Anne felt her heart lift with every jarring clomp of her horse's hoofs. The stark stone of the castle rose up against the grey sky, a bulwark of safety and security. By the saints, she was glad of the sight. Though her sire continued to curse a variety of objects and souls, Anne let his words wash over her and continue on their way to more attentive ears. She was far too lost in her memories to pay him any heed. She remembered the first time she had come to Artane. The castle had been little more than branches marking the place for the outer walls, and twigs outlining the inner buildings. The construction had seemed to take but a short time, likely because she'd been passing her days so happily in the company of the family she'd come to foster with. There had been a sister for her, just her age, and brothers too, though she'd paid them little heed at the time. The lord and lady of the yet-to-be-finished keep had treated her as one of their own, and for that she had been very grateful. And then had come the time when she had first noticed the lord's eldest son. He'd been hard to ignore. He had announced his presence by putting a worm down her dress. A particularly jarring misstep by her mount almost made her bite off her tongue. Anne gritted her teeth and forced herself to pay heed to her horse. Perhaps her memories did her more disservice than she cared to admit, especially when they went in the